Well, folks, I guess you can tell that we have a couple new additions to the family. You know, my dad had been using this Ryobi drill, hammer drill, for a long time.
There wasn't nothing really wrong with it.
Well, no.
The battery just wouldn't last, and it didn't have a lot of torque.
Yeah. So, and we do still use that to drill small pilot holes and stuff like that. But, you know, him always having to crank up the generator and get his big hammer drill out or his big, you know, torque drill. I just figured it was time to get him something that was a little easier to, you know, bring out and not have to start up the generator.
I will tell you this, you know, normally like that Ryobi, I would put the drill bit in here, then I would hold this and, you know, tighten it up, and not a big deal. And I've even had DeWalt drills when I worked for AT&T. Of course, that was 20 years ago now, almost. And, you know, did the same thing. And I tried to chuck this up with the drill bit in there, and I burnt the skin off of my finger. I had no idea of the torque that this thing had, even though it's a 20 volt. This thing, it's a beast. It's like Smokey. It's a beast. But I really, really like this because we used it several times so far, and it really works good. This actually, he just bought me the other day.
I was asking him what else he may need on the up here on the property without having to get the generator out, and he said, well, the only other thing I can think of is maybe a Sawzall. And so I started doing some research, and since we don't have a Home Depot around and I can't get Milwaukee, Lowe's, they stock DeWalt and they stock Metabo and a couple other brands, and I'm not as familiar with Flex yet. I know some of you guys may have seen those around, but this was highly rated, the Metabo 36 volt.
It's a hoss too, believe me. It's almost like a jackhammer. It's got lots of power and it holds the 36 volt. I actually had a few blades, but yeah, I mean, I cut a couple of 2x6s with this, and I told him, you know, a lot of times when you're wrecking out, you would use something like this, or just places that you can't get to that you need to saw. But you know, I could also do pruning with it. I could do a whole lot of things. So this is going to really come in handy too. But yeah, and they all have hangers on them. You know, that's what I like about a lot of that stuff where you can just kind of hang it up. But yeah, this thing right here, it is a hoss.
Let me tell you one quick thing about this hammer drill. It's got 3 speed settings on it, and it's got 3 light settings on it. So you can have it come on just right when you pull the trigger. You can have it come on full when you pull the trigger, and then you can have it come on and stay on for 20 minutes after you pull the trigger. So you got a couple different settings there. Of course, you got your, you know, little chuck torque settings there with the hammer drill and the regular drill. I had the model before this. This is the DCD 998. I had the 996, and I could drill 5/8, half-inch, 6-inch long bits through concrete, no problem. Never stopped. No shortage of power. And this thing, I will tell you, is one of their newer models that they came out, the Power Detect, and it is a beast of a drill if you're looking for something cordless. This came in the combo kit, this little impact driver. This is the 887. I had this particular one myself as well. It's got 3 settings on it. So real fast, number 2 setting, which is what we normally use it on, and then the first setting, which is like hand drill. If it senses any tension at all, it'll just stop. That way you don't over tighten something. Very handy. The battery lasts a long time. This is a 2 amp hour. It'll last quite a bit of time. It's got plenty of power, and we got a great deal on this combo. So now he has another impact, and it came in handy too. When we were, you know, working around here, we had to have several different bits stuck in these impacts.
It's actually my 3rd impact, but like he said, we had different bits stuck in them, and we were able to, you know, be set up and ready to go, even though we had to switch tools. I mean, this quick set right here, it's really nice, but we actually had 3. You'll see a video upcoming where I've actually got 2 impacts in my pocket. That way I didn't have to, you know, unchuck and chuck back up to do a different job. But also, you know, if somebody's up here helping me, then I had an extra one for them to be able to use. But yeah, I'm getting all set up thanks to him with all cordless tools, and the technology, you know, they're lasting me. Well, let's see, the skill saw, the Matebo skill saw with the same battery. How many days did we use it? 3?
At least.
Yeah.
We were cutting non-stop.
Yeah. So they do last a good while, and they are really. Now you're going to spend money for these, because these two right here were $400. This one was $200. So that's $600 just in 3 tools.
These came with batteries. This one didn't.
But I will tell you this. You can't beat it because you don't have to drag the cord around. I've learned that. And you know, you can hang on to them without, like I say, jerking the cord around if you're up on the roof, especially if it's something that, you know, we've been doing recently, and we're going to be doing in an upcoming video, putting the roof on the front porch. But yeah, it really comes, they really come in handy like that, and they last a while because of the new style batteries.
The last thing I'll add is this reciprocal saw has a light on it. Come on. There we go. It's got a light on it. You don't typically see that on Sawzalls. The battery stuff you do. And then the lights on this impact driver, this DeWalt specifically, this one, and I believe Makita makes one, it is really well done. You'll see a lot of lights. They're like improperly positioned down here, and you can't really see where you're at sometimes. So I do like the way that they put the lights on these 2 particular tools. It really helps out when it's dim lit or no light at all. So highly recommend.
Yep, I can actually brag about this right here. If you're looking for a really good drill, DeWalt makes the best hammer drill.
Yes.
According to all the ratings,
yes,
the best hammer drill.
Yeah.
I don't know about the impact drill, and I don't know about this one right here, but if you're looking for a hoss, this is an 8 amp hour battery. If you're looking for a hoss of a drill, I can recommend this one, because based on the other tools that I've got, and even the corded half-inch or half horsepower big drill that I've got. Now it does go low speed, okay, but I could turn this on low speed, and I was drilling out 1-inch holes, but I had to hang on to it because it's got that much power. It would just twist right on around with me. If you're looking for a really good drill, this is the one to get.
Yeah.
I know I've mentioned this before, but we kind of thought it was funny because there was somebody up here the other day asked me, they said, what does that sign mean right there, men? And I said, well, that's the outhouse. And they just kind of laughed, and I said, no, I'm just kidding. I said, I have an outhouse over there, a compost toilet, but it's out of order. Then we laughed again because compost toilets don't go out of order. But anyway, I did have one up here that said women too, but we actually cut that tree down, and I just haven't put it back up. But it is kind of a novelty type item.
Man, that is a lot of wood. I believe one of the next projects we're going to have to do the next time I come up is take that and raise it. You know what I'm saying? So that may be coming up soon. It is literally, anybody who's visited the Outpost knows, if you come up here, it is literally touching the top. It's a lot of wood. It's going to last a while.
Well guys, we want you to be sure and watch our upcoming video of our camping trip. We're going to take a couple of days out, weather permitting. We have to plan all this around the weather, but we're hoping to do some camping and fishing, so we're going to try to do that tomorrow. But I was showing him this rig that my neighbor made up there, and what a good job that he did on it.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it, and not only is it going to serve a purpose of helping us haul this beast, you know, without it just hanging up over the top of the truck, but it'll also help us, you know, in whenever we go to the store, we don't have to haul the trailer with us if we need to pick up some plywood or some drywall or some, you know, 2x6s or whatever. But we've had some people write in and send us some designs on storing this canoe on top of the truck. And, you know, the reason that it was made this way down low is because he's got a bit of a bad shoulder, so it, you know, pressing up overhead, even though it's not that heavy, is a motion that you don't really want to have to do too much of if you can help it. So we made it down low for that purpose.
I can lift up to here without injuring the shoulder too much. So I didn't want to lift it up high. Just kind of get the front end up there, and then I can just slide it in the truck, even though it does hang over on the back. And that's one of the reasons for putting all that reflective stuff on there. I also took and glued a piece of outdoor carpet onto it right here so that it doesn't scratch the bottom of the canoe too much, sliding it in and out. But I was talking about how I got this canoe originally, that it had a blemish on it. I couldn't remember where it was, but I seen it a while ago. This is the blemish. It's not all the way through the canoe, but it's about 3/4 of an inch long. It is a gash, but like I said, it doesn't go all the way through. So, you know, there's really no reason to put any filler in there, although I might do that at some point. But that's how I got that extra money off, because of that blemish, even though it was a brand new canoe and they had it marked down. That's how I got it basically half price. But yeah, be sure to watch that upcoming video of the camping trip. We're hoping to have a whole lot of fun. We figured we would take him down here and cool him off before we start the review video and answering questions and so forth. Otherwise, he'd be hounding us to do this and that. So that's what we normally do. Actually been doing it 2 or 3 times a day, as humid as it gets. So anyway, we'll meet you down there at the creek. Well, now that we got the beast cooled off, we're going to go up to the cabin, go over a few things, and then we'll answer some questions. So we'll see you guys up there. We thought we'd take a few minutes and answer some questions for you guys. Somebody mentioned that I had the original weed whacker, which is, alright then. Some folks calls it a sling blade. I just call it a weed whacker. This is what I grew up using right here. And I actually found this for sale at a roadside. Just to, somebody that pulls off and sells stuff. And it didn't have a handle. So I made a dogwood handle, which was actually crooked. But, I figured with the shape of it and then coming down, I wouldn't have to be so steep at an angle. And it really works good. I took my Phillips screwdriver right here and put it in the vise and kind of punched a few holes. That way it doesn't come out, but it should be there to stay for a long time. And I'll tell you what, I think I could just about keep up with anybody with the most powerful gas operated weed eater, because I can sling left and right just like they can. And as long as I don't get into any trees that are growing, which you would have to have a different blade even for a weed eater, I can cut with the best of them and probably keep up with them. And actually it's good exercise too. You don't want everything so easy, do you? But anyway, yeah, this is the original weed eater.
Had a question about, this was from Asheville, North Carolina. So you're just on the other side of us. This says, curious how you don't get bears ransacking your outdoor kitchen. Funny you say that.
It's been my experience that bears don't generally frequent too much. May not be everywhere, but around here where people are close. When I wasn't staying here, I would come up every once in a great while and I would find a track. Generally that's only certain times of the year, like in the spring when they first come out of hibernation, and then later in the fall, especially when a lot of bear hunters are out running them all around. But haven't had any sign, haven't seen any, and generally if a bear knows that you're in the vicinity, they're going to be going in the other direction. But we did have a coon the other night because I didn't put the lid on the garbage can really well. He actually knocked the trash can over and kind of pilfered around in the trash somewhat, but if the lid is on there, he cannot get it off, and generally they won't bother it. But I know that they do come through here, but generally, because I will clean up everything, there's no residual left over from when I'm cooking. That way they don't actually hang around up here and find this as a spot where they can frequent, But the garbage can there, I forgot to put the lid on it real tight, and they actually knocked the can over. And I guess the dog, I didn't hear him because I was so tired, but he said, yeah, the dog was up barking, raising Cain.
Well, speaking of the kitchen, somebody asked, how do you keep all your utensils clean out there on the grill area?
Well, after I cook, I will wash the dishes, and like this right here is just a Dunkin' Donuts coffee container that I cleaned out, that I keep all the spoons, the knives, and the forks in. So when I get ready for a new one, I just reach in here and pull one out. The pots and pans generally just hang up there where you've seen them hanging, and the only trouble that I have is really in the springtime when you got a lot of pollen floating around. The pollen will kind of float in and stick, and so I have to wipe that out before I use it. But other than that, since all the pollen is not, falling now, and all the leaves are out, they just stay like they are when I get done washing them. But yeah, it's not really hard to do. And then the sink over there, I've got soap down in that container. I just pump it a couple of times, and I have some water heated up from when I am actually cooking, and mix the two together, and I'm ready to wash.
Staying on this topic of food, someone says, it's been a while since I've last watched your videos. It looks like you've lost a little bit of weight, or a lot of weight, since you've retired. Are you just eating healthier? Is everything okay?
I'm not eating any fast food. I guess that could be considered eating healthier. You know, working in EMS, we had to eat whenever we could, and a lot of times that was dashing into a store somewhere to get something and eating it on the way back from a run. Because a lot of times we were standing in the line when we stopped trying to order, and the tone would go off again, and we were already next in line, and off we would go. And we would just have to forget about eating. So you either carried your food and ate it on the way back, or you stopped and got something and ate it on the way back. That's just the way, you know, a 24-hour call is, that you eat on the run, basically, because you don't have a lunch break or a dinner break or anything like that. You're on call for 24 hours, and so you eat as you grab the opportunity when you can.
Well, the other thing too is you're also spending a lot more time out here working, and since it's
sweating,
yeah,
you know, so you're burning a lot of calories. You're sweating, which is like taking a shower from the inside out, and then when you're done, you go take a shower on the outside and wash it all off.
Yeah. Somebody asked, again, staying on the kitchen, about the hooks over there. Why didn't you just attach them to the end of a drill? And
I could have, but it was just as easy to use the screwdriver and go around. And, you know, I didn't have to try to hook one up, but I could have. I've done it before, but I only had 4 that I was setting, so I just drilled the holes and twisted them as far as I could with my hand, then finished it with a screwdriver. I've also used a wrench, you know, the round part, stick it on there and run it around. But the only thing I had up here with me at the time was just those 4 hooks and a screwdriver.
Somebody asked, when you carry your rifle down to the creek, or the shotgun, are you hoping not to encounter a black bear?
No, I just carried it, you know, because when you grow up in the country, you know, I grew up hunting rabbits and things of that nature. You just grab a gun and take it with you, you know. My neighbor did one time. This was years and years and years ago. You know, he always wears a pistol on his side because he's a retired officer, and it's out of habit, and also living out here in the country. One time he came outside and there was a bear that had got close to the house. I don't know if he'd had some scraps out there for the dogs. That's another thing that you learn not to do, is to leave scraps around. But the dogs went out after the bear, and the bear, you know, jumped on the dogs, and they were just small dogs. But the bear jumped on the dogs, and he actually was either going to lose the dogs or lose the bear. So he actually shot and killed the bear with his pistol, called the game warden. The game warden came, you know, checked it out, heard the story, no big deal. But yeah, you know, every once in a while you run into something like that, and every once in a while you run into, like he was talking about, a snake. But like I mentioned this many times before, in my area right here where I grew up, I have never ever seen a rattlesnake, never ever seen a copperhead. Mainly it's just black snakes, and you know, I don't try to mess with the black snakes. I leave them be because they get rid of a lot of pests, rodents, you know, like mice and rats and things of that nature. So just let them be. But a lot of times if you see the snake, you know, he'll take off and go in the other direction too. And you know, it's not anything that I'm worried about or scared about, and I just, you know, go about my business. But I did weed eat or weed whacked a path down there so that I can basically stay out of the chiggers and stay out of the ticks and in the poison, you know, to where we go. It's kind of a nice path going down.
It's really
the
nice.
creek. Yeah,
it's cool.
So yeah, I mean, no big deal, no problem.
That was one of the next questions, actually. Josephine, a person who always been following us for a while and won a couple of giveaways. She was asking if there's snakes in and around the creek or the weeds, but you just answered that.
Honestly, I've not seen any snakes since I've been taking him down to the creek.
We know they're there.
Yeah, they're all around, but
let's see here. Oh, someone asked a question about that red container next to your grill.
I've got 5 5-gallon containers that I carry water in. So that's one right there. I leave it sitting there, or sometimes I set it over there by the sink. That is to add water to wash dishes with and clean those out. So that's because I've got some soap in the container in the pump, and then I will add that water in there and for washing dishes, you know, and just odding in things. And I thought, well, I'll set it over here by the stove just in case, you know, the fire got out of hand, which never had any issues with that, but I could actually pick it up and dump some on. And I'm going to tell you something. Those Rural King 5-gallon containers where they've got that screw port to let air in, those are the best, because when you open that up, I can turn that 1-inch tube up and you got a 1-inch stream of water coming out. I mean, they're absolutely, it's kind of like the NASCAR, you know, when they pull in and they refuel. I mean, that's what it's like. So, and they're $19.99. If you've got a Rural King in your area and you need a fuel container or just a water container, the others that I bought are they're all white. And I keep them down in the tiny house so that the sun doesn't get to them, so they start growing algae. But that was the other one. I had bought a red one, a blue one, and a yellow one. I keep, and I've got one more red one too, but I've got water written on the side of that one. I keep my diesel fuel in the yellow and the blue, and then the regular gasoline in the red one. But yeah.
Someone asked, there's actually a number of people making suggestions and asking about the blinds or the flaps, different designs that you have going to be going right here. Have you decided how you're going to do it?
No, I like it open like this because I can see. It creates a nice breeze through here. But sometimes you have those windy days, sometimes you have those rainy days. And I thought if I had some that I could roll up, you know, some people mentioned push out, but if I do that, they may be able to catch a lot of wind. So I wanted something that I could actually roll up out of the way, where I could actually drop that if it was a really windy day to kind of knock down some of the wind, but to where they would give, and then also on a rainy day. You know, I don't know if I'll do it or not. I just thought about it. And then in the late evening, you know, as far as the sun goes, I'm thinking about it. The span between this post and that post too, I'm afraid I'd have to come up with 2 of them because I don't think they make anything that long. But I did think about putting it from this post to this post, across the back, and at least up to the stove over on this side right here. And my first thought was the ones that are made out of bamboo. I've got some regular creek or river cane growing, but it would take so many for me to be able to make something that I told him I didn't want to cut that many because I didn't want to start erosion. You know, a lot of that was kind of helps to keep the erosion in check. But I'll think about it some more, and I'll check out and see what's available, and we'll go from there.
Have you had anybody get into your mason jars or anything up there above the sink?
Nope. No, because I don't really keep anything that I don't think that they can smell. I've got some macaroni and I've got some rice and some flour, but no, I hadn't had any rodents up there bothering that. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you stopping by and checking us out here at the review channel. Still got a whole lot of projects going on. We got several videos coming up with Patrick. I think it's going to be in them. When did you say you were coming back? So I have to catch him while he's here.
Well, with that new flight now leaving down the street from my house, it'll be a lot more often. I haven't been here, I mean, in the last while because of so many projects going on that I'm working in down in Texas. And of course, last year there was the whole COVID mess. So
you know, the last time he was here, we just had the cabin posts and beams set, and we were putting the roof on.
And we had just hit 10,000 subscribers.
And the sawmill, the shed was built around the sawmill because I built that in the fall with Jennifer. But that was it.
This wasn't here. The chicken house wasn't here. The Outpost compost toilet wasn't here.
The siding wasn't on. The flooring wasn't in.
That was here. Yeah.
The tiny house wasn't here either, was it?
Yeah, it was. Tiny house was here.
It?
Yeah. Oh, the gardens weren't here
Yeah,
at
the
all.
raised beds gardens, they weren't here. So there's been a whole lot happened since he'd been here last time.
Mm-hmm.
He said when he drove up it looked very familiar, but still.
I feel like because I have to see it every day, you know, that's what we do. And so sitting down in this kitchen, it feels oddly familiar, like I've sat in it before. And I've been at the sink and been at the thing because I've watched the videos and heard about it and watched it be built from the beginning. It feels very familiar. I kind of feel like a subscriber.
But guys, thanks so much for stopping and checking us out. If you're new to this channel, go to Smoky Mountain Outpost, check out that channel. That's where we do all of our building. Also go and check out the website. That's where we've got all the information on our monthly giveaways on both channels, plus our new milestone giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
We can't thank you enough for sharing our content with your family, friends, and neighbors. Keep doing that. We do the giveaways so that you can be part of the growth of this channel. We thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. Even my daughter, who's on vacation right now, Jennifer, my son Patrick, we can't thank you enough. Y'all take care. Have a great day. We look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.